What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, according to sources, the highly anticipated pay-per-view showdown, the first pay-per-view showdown for undefeated two-division world champion, currently middleweight WBC reigning world champion, Jermell Charlo, and his identical twin brother, two-time junior middleweight world champion, currently the unified WBC, IBF, WBA, IBO, Ring Magazine, lineal junior middleweight world champion superstar boxer, Jermell Lions Only Charlo. So, these two superstar boxers faced off against what is on paper was their toughest competition for Jermell Charlo. It was unified junior middleweight reigning champion Jason Rosario, Banana Rosario. And for Jermall, it was middleweight contender Sergey Derevyanchenko. Now on paper, everybody was saying that this was the toughest test for these two fighters, these two superstar boxers. Now with that said, this was also the first pay-per-view headline card that they done. And it was a doubleheader. History, pay-per-view doubleheader. Two different main event cards. Jermall Charlo versus Sergey Derevyanchenko in the first card, and Jermell versus Jason Rosario in the second card, in which now reports and sources are stating that the pay-per-view was indeed a success. Now you had colorful analyst and trainer Teddy Atlas recently come out and pretty much say that he figured that it wouldn't be that much of a success and that he felt that the UFC was putting on better events and would have done better numbers. Now, Israel Dos Santos, he fought the same night on pay-per-view on a UFC card, which was a mega UFC card. I'm a UFC casual fan, not a hardcore fan, right? So with that said, Teddy Atlas was saying that a lot of his boxing fans in a sport that he's been around for 40 plus years are starting to get upset with him due to the fact that he's favoring the UFC over his lifelong sport of boxing. And he was breaking down and giving examples that the UFC is putting on better cards and the numbers don't lie. If you compare the numbers, he said that UFC numbers are completely outclassing the sport of boxing. And he said he had an idea of the numbers that was going to come up for Jermell and Jermall Charlo's card compared to that UFC card. And he said the numbers don't lie in favor of the UFC. With that said, it doesn't matter what the UFC did, because Jermell and Jermall Charlo's pay-per-view card was a success, according to sources that I've spoken to and some of the people that reached out to me to give me some numbers. And they all say that it's going to do upwards of 240,000 pay-per-view buys. That is a success for today's time, for today's climate. And a lot of people was complaining about the pay-per-view being $75. And at $75, times 240, upwards of 240. 240 is the low number that I'm hearing, that it could exceed that number. That's the low number, 240. Then I got other people giving me numbers of 235, upwards of 235. So it's still in that 235, 240 range, right? But the sources that I reached out to said that they believe it to be 240 at least. So they feel like it's going to be upwards of 240. That's a success. Now, I know a lot of people have grown accustomed to these Floyd Mayweather inflated numbers. Floyd Mayweather doing 1.5 and 2.4 and numbers, these types of numbers that Floyd Mayweather caught lightning in a bottle. You understand? Those type of numbers more than likely will never be duplicated. Floyd Mayweather broke pay-per-view records. He broke pay-per-view numbers. You understand? So that's not ordinary. He was breaking numbers. He was breaking records, doing record pay-per-views. And if you look at all the pay-per-view records, it's all Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, and Mike Tyson. There's a reason there's only a short list of boxers that break pay-per-view numbers, that have these massive pay-per-view numbers, because it's not normal. So with that said, this is a success for Jermell and Jermall Charlo, their first pay-per-view event with today's climate, and having 40 million people unemployed due to the pandemic, and not having any fans attend live sporting events, and yet still do upwards of 240,000 pay-per-views. That is great numbers, right? I told you guys I expected it to do well over 200,000 pay-per-view buys. I told you this when I was talking about and discussing Teddy Atlas claiming that it wasn't going to be a success, or at least it couldn't compare to the UFC, right? But if you look at it from this standpoint, the UFC was putting on their absolute best versus the best, and the sport of boxing hasn't put on the best versus the best, and they still rival them in numbers. Jermall Charlo versus Canelo Alvarez would be the best versus the best. You understand? But he first Sergey Derevyanchenko, who is a contender and never been a champion. Jermell Charlo first faced a guy who upset a guy to be a champion, and yet they still were able to do these numbers. So imagine if they were to insert a Canelo Alvarez, what the numbers would look like. You understand? So at the end of the day, congratulations and kudos to Jermell and Jermall Charlo for doing successful pay-per-view numbers. According to my sources and my reports, you'll hear more about this later on. More numbers will come out. The numbers may fluctuate up or down, but from my understanding, my sources close to the situation, it will do upwards of 240,000 pay-per-view buys. That is a success, in my opinion, with today's climate and how everything is set up today. Lack of promotion, because you can't have press conferences with fans and fans in attendance, and the excitement is kind of deflated. You can't have fans at the weigh-in. You can't have fans at the press conference. They're doing press conferences virtually. It's just a lot different format than we're used to and accustomed to. So the promotion has taken a hit as well as everything else. So to me, this is a success. And congratulations to Jermell and Jermall Charlo. And I'm expecting them to do bigger and better things in the near future. But that's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, or one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.